In this video we're going to be looking at dipping, enrobing and decorating. To start with, I'm going to start coating the spheres that we filled with ganaches. I'm going to use a couverture. It's slightly thicker than normal. I've allowed it to cool down slightly, which will give you a better coating on the product. So this technique is where we take the couverture, I'm just going to put it on silicone paper, tap my hands into it with a pair of rubber gloves. Joe, can you pass me the 4, please? As you can see, as I'm working it now through my hands, I'm getting that spikiness forming, which is quite characteristic of a truffle. And then what we're going to do now, we're going to finish them with 4 different finishes. Right, then where do you want me to go first?
Okay, we'll go 1 in the splitters, 1 in the paillette 13, and 1 in the caramelised hazelnuts. And we're just going to roll them so we get a nice even coating going around. There we go. And sit them onto the board. Again, nice, evenly coated. Some of these just might need pushing in a little.
And once again, this would be a one-man operation normally, but we're just trying to show you as many decoration techniques as possible, so that's why the 3 of us are working on this.
Okay, so we've got nicely coated. I've got a spare one, Mick,
right.
Might as well.
I'm going to leave this one spiked up a bit, Len.
Just go a plain one.
So it just looks like a traditional truffle.
Okay.
Right, Joe, now we'll go for, right, now this is the ganache that we did a free piping truffle. What we need to do first with this one, what you would do with the tray of them, is just shape them up so it looks like a natural truffle shape. Taking the chocolate again on the silicone, dipping the hands into the truffles, all 3 of them. Right, and away we go again, enrobing and coating with couverture, and with this time we're just going to drop them then into the bitter cocoa powder. The reason why we put a coating on first is when you pop them in your mouth, you get the cocoa powder, but then you get the crunchiness of the coating that's round the ganache.
So,
there we go.
Very traditional truffle with the cocoa powder.
Right, the next one we're going to go for now, we're going to go for the logs. I'm using chocolate again on the silicone. There you go, Joe. And where are we going with these, Len?
We'll go some into the chocolate flakes this time. We'll do a nice row of chocolate flake.
And where's the next going?
We'll go flakes with all these.
There you go. As you can see, once you start moving with this, you can knock 500 out quite quickly on a production line.
And again, making sure that they're nice and evenly coated. And then the final ones, Mick, if you want, just leave on there and I'll sprinkle.
Then. Right, so the final ones, drop it there, Joe. The final ones, we're just doing the little pencils now. Chocolate, I'm just going to put those onto the silicone, like so. And then Len's going to just embellish them with a little decoration.
Yeah, so we've got some crystallised rose petals and just a few just pushed on top so as they stick on. And then a few crystallised violets, just the same. Like so. And then carefully just picking up and laying on the sheet. And because this chocolate's tempered, those will set off very, very quickly indeed.
Right, now we're going to show you the procedure of dipping pralines. To start off with, I'm taking single layered pralines. Remember the chocolate base we put on them? And I'm just going to drop that into the chocolate, like so. Bring the dipping fork over, take the praline and then just in and out of the chocolate, which helps to drag away the excess so we're getting a nice thin coating. Knocking off, cleaning, and then just depositing on the plastic.
And just to finish them, a couple of crystallised rose petals on that one, and we've got some crystallised ginger just to sit as a nice centre on that one.
If we move back now to the remaining 3 pralines, I'm just going to give them a bit of a different texture now. So what I'm going to do now is put a topping on them prior to dipping. So the first topping, I've just got a bit of cocoa nib. And all I'm doing is just pressing that into the ganache. I've got a hazelnut praline, which once again, I'm just going to press into the ganache. And then I've got a roasted whole hazelnut, which once again, into the ganache. I think at this stage you need to be aware that the ganaches need to be at a state where you can insert these toppings into them. So same method again. We've got the chocolate, in it goes, in we go, in we go. Taking the dipping fork, I'm just trying to get it square. Same procedure, dragging off, cleaning, dropping off. With the nib one, same again. Dragging off. And then finally, we've got the roasted hazelnut. Which is more obvious to see really. Dragging off, cleaning, and once again onto the plastic. Now I'm going to show you how to dip. Just dip again the 2-layered praline, the one that we did with the ganache and the fruit topping. Chocolate side down again, in it goes. Over with the chocolate, and then lifting it up, and then just dragging it, tapping the excess away, cleaning, dropping off. Dipping is also very interesting with fruit. I've got 4 different types of fruit in front of me here, so I'm going to use 2 different types of chocolate for dipping. First of all, I'm going to start with strawberries. I'm purposely leaving the core on the strawberries for facility of picking it up, really. Just taking the strawberry into chocolate, coating it halfway, cleaning the excess chocolate off, and then directly onto plastic. These little baby miniature apples are superb for dipping. Once again, they've got the stalk left on for eating purposes. Halfway into the chocolate, clean off, and then to give them a bit of crunchiness, we can just dip them into a bit of nut. So you've got something looking like that. Then if we come to dark chocolate, we've got the grillotines. Once again, they've got a lovely stalk on them. So taking these, but this time I'm going to dip these fully in chocolate, cleaning the base, and once again, just dropping onto the plastic. Then we come to little baby pears. I've just put a skewer through it to enable me to lift it up. And what I'm going to do with these is just dip them in a dark chocolate, and as you can see, the chocolate really embellishes the pear. And we could probably dip these in a little biscuit. And once again, onto the plastic. Just leave it there. We'll take that out later. I'm just going to lift the cherry up like so. And there you are. That's 4 different types of fruit dipped with chocolate and embellish with other products.
I'm just going to show you how to demonstrate some inclusion bars. We've pre-prepared the moulds and filled them with some tempered couverture. Just as a decorative finish, I've just taken some tempered white couverture and given myself a nice fine nozzle in the piping bag and just randomly work round, no particular shape, no particular order. If you sometimes get a little blockage, just push it through. And same again in the second one. As you can see, no particular order, no particular shape. And then just taking a cocktail skewer, you could do one of many ways. You could either work side to side, just to give it a slight feathering effect. In between every time that you do use the cocktail stick, clean it so as it doesn't drag the dark through, or you could run front to back to give it another feathered effect. And then if you're going to add anything into this chocolate, you just need to give it a couple of minutes just to start going off, just start setting. These are already pre-done, so I'm going to take a couple of hazelnuts. Again, you could use whole ones or chopped up ones, and just drop them in. But try to be, you don't have to be too exact, but you need to be fairly random so you get a little bit in every bite. I might drop a few nibs, cocoa nibs in there. We might do a nutty one, so a little bit more chopped nut through there. And then in with that, we might add a little bit of flour. Again, using the rose petals, because they're just going to add, just tapping those down just so the inclusions settle into them. I think we might add a few fudge pieces into the next one. I mean, there's no hard and fast rule for any of this, it's just working as you feel like it. And then in the last one, we've got some toffee, which we can just add in there. And just because I like them, we'll just pop a few gratin cherries into the last one, like so. Again, gentle tap just to make sure everything settles, and then you just pop this in a cool area or maybe in your refrigerator. Half an hour to an hour, they should have been set off ready for demoulding.